I'm Peter Bassett, Astronomy Roadshow Mobile Planetarium. Today we're going to talk about the conspiracy theory regarding the moon landings. Some people believe it never actually happened. I'll concentrate on one particular issue that they come up with. The Lunar Rover, the moon buggy. Alright? Some say it's so big there's no way it could transport that to the moon. It's almost as big as the lunar module itself. So how did they get it to the moon in the first place? Well, there's a little secret here, and it's a fold-up car. Okay, and here's what I made earlier. That'll do. I'm not a professional model maker or an engineer, but managed to come up with this anyway. And let's see how this is exactly how it was folded up in the lunar module itself. All right. Once you got it out, this is what the astronauts did. Two seats, control unit, 16mm movie camera, communications dish for the Earth, where it's actually a cocktail umbrella. Okay, that will do, it's the same scale, and two batteries to power it. It is an electric car, and there we go. Right, I think it looks familiar enough anyway. Yeah, it's good enough. At least it gives you the idea of how this thing was put together. Oh, it's not that difficult at all. It took a matter of minutes actually on the moon itself to do that. We do have a missing part here. Yeah, a driver, sorry. There we go. Right, 6 astronauts has been fortunate enough to ride on this thing. That is, let's say Jim Irwin, shall we? Apollo 15, and he actually opened up our observatory at Canterbury and in 1991. Very nice chap. Didn't even charge. There you go. Anyway, so it's now on the moon. But it's a conspiracy supporter by the name of Marcus Allen has got a bit of a problem with this. And he says, how come in 1971 this car can be powered by 2 small batteries that's roughly the right scale as well, and yet here we are in the 21st century, look at an electric car, and it has a whole bank of batteries covering the entire chassis. We seem to have gone backwards, haven't we? So how come this was available in 71 and not available today? I've asked 10-year-old children about this, and they've actually come up with the right answer. It's not that difficult. Right, the requirements today for an electric car, here's some of those requirements. And I've put together the exact facts and figures just to tidy up some of the information they've actually suggested. It needs to be rechargeable, for a start, to make it financially feasible. And they call it cycles, actually. So 10,000 charges or 10,000 cycles is the minimum required, all right, for a financially feasible car on Earth. Anyway, the weight of it, yeah, if you've got 5 people on board and luggage as well, it's going to weigh quite a bit, up to around 2 tonnes. And to move that mass, we've got to have some powerful motors. And each of these motors, 350 volts each, are required to get this thing moving, especially if you've got an uphill start as well. You've got to take all this into account. It needs to be aerodynamic as well. You've got to have your windscreen, everything else. It's got to cut through the air. Alright, and it needs to be weatherproof, of course. Got to be protection against the rain and the winds and everything else. And so you need all the seals and that's a concern as well. And it also needs to achieve 75 miles an hour minimum on the motorways, because it's no good if it's got a maximum speed of say 30 miles an hour and you take it out on the motorway, you're going to get pulled up by the cops. There's no doubt about that. It would be illegal for a start. Okay, so you'll be escorted off straight away. And it needs to have a range of 150 miles. Alright, because if you pull away from home and it conks out after 30 miles or so and you've got to recharge it up again and then carry on your journey, it's not practical. Alright, so it needs a good range, 150 miles a minimum. And battery lifespan, yeah, it needs to last 10 years or so. There's no use if it lasts 6 months and then you transport it back to the garage and pay £5,000 to get new batteries and so on, start all over again. So it's just not practical otherwise. Some other things they come out with, and other things that's got to be powered by those batteries. It's got to have headlights, it's got to have the full beam, it's got to have brake lights, and indicators, got to have the horn, all this sort of stuff, windscreen wipers when it's raining, electric windows, tons of stuff, lots more besides. That's just a small selection. But the requirements for the Lunar Rover is completely different. This is the key to the answer. And one single charge at the factory, that's all it needs, alright? And the payload itself is just 6% of a full car on the moon, alright? All the passengers and everything else. We've got 2 astronauts, fully suited up, under lunar gravity, which 1/6 of ours, the weight of it is just 6% of the same sort of car on Earth. And each wheel, because that weight's, again, only requires 36 volt motors, not 350. Alright, it's about 10%. And anyway, even with the hill start, doesn't matter. 36 volt motor will be fine. And even if one of them was working and the other three failed, it could still pull along the rover. Alright, it's designed to do that. Very clever stuff. And got no aerodynamics to worry about. There's no air, it's a vacuum. No weather to worry about at all. There's no wind shear, no waterproofing, nothing is required. It needs to go 12 miles an hour. There's no roads on the moon, you've got to be careful everywhere, you can't go at high speed, and there's no need, it's not a race, it's not Formula 1, and just need to get your destination, that's all in one piece, and that's what you've got to do. And with a range, 30-mile range is all you need. It's just a sixth of what the minimum requirement is for the Earth. And it's designed to do 3 little excursions from the lunar module out to a mountain or a crater and back. It's got 3 little trips to do. And the battery lifespan, best of all, so you can last 3 days once you get there. That's it. And it works out at 0.082% of the requirement for a car on Earth. Alright. Anyway, so these are the advantages of the Lunar Rover. So can these 2 little batteries power this car? Yeah, no problem. Okay. And 10-year-old children can come up with this. Alright, it's not really a big deal. Okay. Anyway, what else we got then? Yes, another thing that Marcus Allen comes out with, this communications antenna. How come this little antenna here can keep in touch with the Earth 240,000 miles away? It doesn't seem strong enough. But what you forget is what's at the other end of the link. It's actually one of these. Okay, it's a radio telescope, and they use the largest in the world. And a selection of them was chosen around the globe, because as the Earth spins, of course, a different radio telescope was facing the moon at any one time. So their communications 24 hours a day. They're insured of that. Anyway, all you've got to do is go along to one of these places and get on the tour, and they can explain how it was done. And also, of course, this isn't battery powered. This is powered by mains from a nearby power station, and they have plenty of output here to communicate with this. And this can receive, because you've got a powerful signal to start with, this can transmit a weak signal, but it can amplify it millions of times over by using all the electronics inside. Alright? Anyway, if you don't believe that, just go along to one of these things, get on the tour, and they can explain. Alright? Okay, it's not that difficult. So what is a mystery then is not about how this fitted in the lunar module, how it was powered, or the fact that communications worked on such low power. That's not the mystery. The mystery is how come adults can't work it out when 10-year-old kids can. Okay, see what I mean? Anyway, so if you want to know more about this sort of thing, there's a great book out actually. I got this the other day, £3, that's all. And Haynes' manual on the Lunar Rover contains all the blueprints of how this thing was built. It's got a little guidance system on board, it shows you how it all works. It's mostly mechanical, not so much electronic. And let's say power. But anyway, it's got all this sort of stuff on board, tells you how it was designed, who done it, and when. And it was actually done by Boeing, not NASA. A lot of people keep saying, oh, I've been in touch with NASA and they can't tell me this or that. Well, because they didn't build the stuff. It was all built by other contractors. Boeing built the Lunar Rover. Right. Grumman Aviation built the lunar module, and so on. It wasn't NASA, okay? And NASA's just the organisation. Anyway, another bit of homework. Here we go. Yeah, there's another book out actually regarding the moon landing hoax itself, and it gives you all the correct answers, not the nonsense. And it's called The Great Moon Landing Hoax, or was it? That's relevant, isn't it? And anyway, it contains lots of stuff about the photography on the moon and the video, cinematography on the moon, and it gives you all the correct answers, all these little problems that these people come up with. It's by somebody called Peter Bassett, and oh, it's me, sorry about that. I beg your pardon. Anyway, but I bought this out a few years ago, update it 2 or 3 times a year, and it can be obtained through outerspacebooks.com, 3 versions on it, including black and white colour and ebook version. And anyway, you've got more information on the moon hoax if you like, free information without buying the book, moonlandinghoax.org. Right, if you're interested. But it's 10 times more information, more detail actually in the book itself if you want to follow it up. Anyway, so hope I entertained you a little bit, and yeah, give you some idea and solve a few little problems for you. Okay, thanks for watching.